The Quench, where you ask, we answer.
Welcome to another episode of The Quench right here on MBCI TV. My name is Remy, and today we will be talking about, does your past affect your future? Now, a lot of things come into perspective when you think about, does your past affect your future? We're talking about everything from your working style, your eating style, how you communicate with other people, your personalities, the traumas that you have to overcome, your phobias. And in this case, we're also talking about your Christian life. Does your past affect your future? I am joined by two very able voices of experts and a wonderful, knowledgeable audience that represents the statistics outside there. So I want to start up by letting you introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you think you're the best person for this conversation. So let's, gentlemen first today.
Thank you very much. I'm Gideon Makumi. I work in an organization called Bethel Network as the Special Programs Coordinator, Human Resource and Administration Manager. Besides that, and perhaps why I'm here today, is because I do a lot of youth mentorship, youth empowerment programs within Nairobi and outside Nairobi. And I'm glad to be here today. And important also to say I'm a father. Father of three.
Yes.
So I'm also a parent, and that's the reason why I'm so passionate about the young people, because I'm also raising some children.
How old are the children?
How old? The firstborn is 7 years, and the secondborn 2 years, and the lastborn is 6 days.
Oh, just 6 days.
Yes.
Congratulations on becoming a father again and again and again.
Okay,
let's give a applause to him. Okay, introduce yourself as well and let us know why you think you're the best person to answer this question to the youth.
So my name is Nelly Chepkemoi Langat. I am a youth leader. I'm a teacher by profession, and I'm a politician. I also do some bit of youth analysis and youth policies as well. So I think I am here because personally I'm a youth. I can be able to relate with most of you. What you people go through as a youth is what I go through as a youth. And that is why I've said I'm a youth leader. I work with many organizations that are trying to empower more youths in our society, right from Turkana to the lowest end in Nyanza. So I think I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be in a youthful group. I'm happy to have conversations because I want to believe that if we are not involved, then nothing can change. I always tend to tell people who I meet that if you cannot involve the youth, that there's nothing without us for us.
Okay, right? Nice. Wonderful. Clap for her as well. Just as by the way, the statistics of the youths in East Africa, we make up the majority, yeah? So when you empower the majority, you're empowering the whole community. Back to our topic. Does your past affect your future? Let me get it from the audience. What do you think? Does your past affect your future?
Okay, I'm Precious Ann. For me, my past doesn't affect my future. My past has not been that bad, so it doesn't affect my future.
Okay. Let's get it from someone else. As we're passing the microphone to him, I think about it. Does affect mean all negative? Does it mean all negative? Let's get Amonota's one-on-one answer. Does it mean all negative? So it could be positive, right? So with that in mind, does your past affect your future?
On my part, I think it depends on the outlook, the way you look at it. So for example, if you look at it in an academic type of standard, like if you are in a grade school, primary and secondary, it will affect your future in a better way because you'll be able to get into a great university. So it depends on the type of way you look at it or on what aspect you're looking at it. So it can affect your future and also it cannot affect your future, depending on the outlook. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
My name is Joseph Muli. My view on this is that it's absolutely right that your present and your future will be dictated by your past. As many scholars have said, and many of the philosophers, they say that basically if you want to know, if you want to get my current state of maybe my current status, that is in terms of maybe social life, academic life, or even economic wise, then you'll have to maybe go like some 5 years ago. What was I doing so that I'm in the current state? And if you want to know my future, then you have to gauge and judge what I'm doing right now. So it's very correct and very wise to say that it's yes for me, that your past will definitely affect your future. Thank you.
Okay, nice.
For me, it's a no, because my past, I have no control over it, but my future, I have the potential and capability of manipulating it, making it the way I want. Yeah, so it's a no for me.
My name is Sylvester, and my answer is yes. Based on all approaches and all perspectives of thinking, you can only learn from the past in order to navigate through the present to make a brighter future.
Okay, nice.
My name is Derek Simeu, and I'd say that yes, my past would affect my future, no matter how negative or positive they are. They are the experiences that will shape the now me or the future me. So you cannot run away from your past, because it will always have an impact on your future.
Okay. So his view is your past will always have an impact on your future. You've given us very deep thoughts about it, because you said yes and no and given us a why. Now I want to take it back to the panelists, and I want to ask, does your past affect your future? Based on what they have said and based on the native intelligence you have from experience, let us know, do you think the past affects your future?
So for me, I'd say it's a yes, because no matter how we think, you also have to look at the different dynamics of life. If you're looking at it from a perspective of education, then it's a no, because from your past, it will not dictate your education life, right? If you came from a humble background and you happen, just as he said, when you go to a secondary school, or rather a day school, and someone else goes to a national school, which is a boarding school, if you come from a humble background, then it will not be able to impact your future, because all of you are there for a purpose. You want to acquire that knowledge so that you're able to make something out of yourself in the future. Now, when it comes to how well you're relating with people, now aside from the education side, how well you are brought up, now this is why I'm saying yes. Your future is kind of impacted by your past. If you're able, because as much as we all want to acquire knowledge and education, let us not forget we all need that social wealth. Social wealth, I'm talking of how well you will be able to relate with people, how well people know you, and how well you know these people. So if your past, you're brought up in an environment where you could relate well with people, then it will definitely have a positive impact in your future in how well you'll be able to relate with other people as well, who you will be now meeting new people in your life, right? So to start with, that is what I'll say first.
So it's a yes and a no for you?
Yes, depending on the different dynamics of how you look at it.
All right.
I want to agree with my colleague here and say that it's a yes and no. It's all about the perspective. And why I say so, it's because even in the studies of psychology, we are told that we are a product of nature and nurture. What that means is that our present is influenced by how we were socialized, and also the kind of environment we grow in. And therefore, in that case, I say it's yes. Because anything that you go through, the experiences that we go through, even at childhood, somehow they have an implication in the future. So in that regard, the past can affect your future. And that's why we are told, and now I speak as a parent, we should be very careful with the kind of things we say to our children, even when they are growing. We should be careful with the kind of environment we are raising our children, because they are able to pick behaviors, they are able to pick habits, which in the long run, they have an implication in the person they'll become in terms of the personality. So yes, because you become a product of how you have been raised. And now, on the other hand, when we say no, it's now about choices. Because as a young person, as you grow, again, we cannot continue growing, blaming the kind of raising we went through. And now here in more Christianity view, and even more now to encourage the young people, You cannot necessarily keep on saying, I'm this way because my father didn't give me this. I'm this way because I was raised an orphan. Sometimes there is the place of choice. As much as it's about how you have been raised, you also have the power of choice. And even God says that they are placed right and wrong before us for us to choose. You're the one who really will determine what kind of direction you want your life to take. Because as much as you're a product of nurture, and nurture is how you have been raised, you can as well choose a different path, especially if the past we are talking about is on the negative. If you are raised in an environment that is not enabling, if you are raised in an environment that environment that is not really supportive, you have the power to choose a different path, because when all is said and done, you determine what kind of a person you want to become. Because people, again, also when they hear that the past is dependent on the future is dependent on the past, they say then I have an excuse to fail. I have an excuse not to do a particular thing because the conditions were not favorable. But the truth is, if you want to have a good life, you have to work on it. There is a responsibility that you have as a person. And therefore, you cannot always and necessarily say that because I had this kind of past, I therefore should have this kind of a doomed future. So it's how really one looks at it.
Yeah,
it's about the
The
perspective.
outlook, it's about the perspective. I love how you guys broke it down for us. You said it's both yes and no in different situations. But I want to disagree with you. I want to say it's always a yes, that your past will always affect your future. In the smallest things. If at one point you were walking and then you fell and you broke your leg, and now you have a broken leg for some time, so you start limping, and then eventually it becomes part of your walking style, your past affected your future, right? Another example I'm going to give, 5 years from now, we all have things we want to do. So right now, we are building ourselves up for the future. If you go away from the way you wanted things to go, it will actually come tomorrow and bite you in the back. So your past does affect your future. I want to take it back to the audience. So when you said no, I want to ask you this question. I want you to answer it wholeheartedly, okay? The things that happened in your future that you didn't have complete control over, can you actually do anything about them today?
No.
I feel like you have a bias.
Yes, I can do nothing about.
Yeah, so you can't do anything about them. So do you really control your future based on your past?
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask it this way. Do you think your future is affected by your past?
Actually, after we have discussed this,
changed your mind?
I've changed my mind.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to her. Let's ask her now. Let's interrogate her. So the question goes back to the same question. You said no. Your future is not affected by your past. Let's start with, have you changed your mind?
No.
No, thank you. All right, so your future is definitely not affected by your past. So give the same example. Something happened in your past that you had complete control over. Do you think that will affect your future, or is it dependent?
It will.
So do you choose what can affect your future, or do you not choose what can affect your future?
It depends. Okay, we've said that there are different perspectives. It's either a yes or a no. But when we lean on the negative side, it won't.
It's not about negativity, and I want to take it back to you guys. This is my view. Disagree with me, agree with me. Just build up on it. It's not about negativity or positivity. It's just that I think we do not necessarily have the free will we think that we do. And sometimes things happen in our past that we cannot contain, we cannot control, okay? And so eventually they have to affect our future, because if to every action, there's a reaction. So let me know, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? And why?
That's why I agree with you. As far as something that is not within your control happening. However, from the point that that thing ends, moving forward, how much of that control do you have? In terms of now the reaction. You talked about the action and the reaction.
Yes.
You may not have control of the action because it's more external, but you can have control of the reaction, because reaction is really how you respond to that particular thing that happened. And in that case, then I say, whatever may have happened is not within you to decide, but whatever you do about it as a reaction now, it's something that you have control over. You can choose, especially when we are talking of the negative, you can choose to sit there and lament about it,
yes.
But as well, you can choose to sit there and say, it won't happen again. You brush off the dust and move forward.
Now, I am still on the point of the past affects your future. And I want to structure it based on what you've said and what I had previously said. When I take it to Nelly, I want to structure it again like this. To every action, there's a reaction, yes? And so the only reason you got to react the way you got to react, positively or negatively, is because your past affected your future. And at this point, your past affected your present, right? Yeah, the only reason you got the opportunity to actually choose whether you lament about the fact that you are poor or not, or you will move from there, is because your poorness in the past is affecting your today. Okay? So agree or disagree with me, but build up on that.
I think I will start with the question first to answer you.
Yes.
If you're trying to say, then if, for example, you're raised up in a humble background, then it is affecting your future. How is it affecting your future? That is now my question, because I want to really get your point, because for us, we say that there are different dynamics to look at it. If you are raised in a poor background, then just as my colleague has said, that is something you had no control over it, right? So how you look at it and how you react to it, and we normally say that before you react to something, try and look at still the dynamics. I guess so the power is within you to change
before we
situation.
actually get to the why, the how, it's does it affect? Does it affect? How you react to it, and my argument is how you react to it.
I would agree with you. It definitely
does react. So we can all agree. Can we all agree? I am pushing my point home that the answer is yes. Does your past affect your future?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. No, you were saying something, Nelly. Yes.
I was just trying to say that yes, we've agreed it affects your future, but there's also some distinctions to look at it. Like, we are looking at it from this perspective that some things you have no control over it, right? But how you react, the power is within you with how you react to change a situation. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Is it coming home? So I'm trying to say, like, how you look at a situation, however much you're going to change, then the power is within you. If you're raised in a humble background, because that's the most example we've used, then you have a power within you to try and change things. If things were not working from where you were raised, or you were raised in an environment that was not so welcoming, it was not so calm, it was not so accommodative, then you have the power to change that. You have the power to ask yourself, can I really accept to live in such an environment again? If you're going to answer, I know most of you are already saying no, then you have that power to change that. How are you going to change that? You have different avenues. You have people to talk to, you have your education, you have now the dynamics that we are talking about are trying to come in. So you have a power to really change that situation, to really change that environment, and be able to create something. If you venye tu tunarudi kwa hiyo example, I came from a humble background, but I do not want to continue staying in a humble background. I want the generations that come after me to be able to experience a different kind of life for that matter. So the power is within you to really change that.
Okay. So I think as of now, before we go on our break, I see a hand. Okay, let's hear what you have to say.
As for me, I think your past will always affect your future. This is because, or let me say that it determines with the choice you make in between. Yeah. So your past can affect your future either positively or negatively. So we can all bear that our past will always affect our future.
Okay.
This bring up this point that if you are brought up eating githeri, and it's your choice to decide if in the future you want to eat meat or you still want to eat the same githeri. Okay?
What's wrong with githeri?
So,
Yeah, but I get the point.
Like, you get the point. Yeah? So if you decide that the choice that you make in between is what will make your future be affected either positively or negatively.
Okay. Nice. I'll come back to those hands. We'll come back and discuss that further. We can all agree at this point in time that your past does affect your future. Yeah. The outcome does not have to be negative. It's not always negative. It could be a good thing, yeah? You could be raised up driving a car, so you decide, I will not, in my life, no, different WhatsApp groups. You can decide that because your past will eventually affect your future. Now, there are things they mentioned, how you react to it is what matters. And that discussion is what we're going to be having when we get back from the break. How do you react to your past affecting your future? Okay? So with that, let's take a break. This was The Quench on MBCI TV. My name is Wangeshika Remi. I'll see you after the break.
The Quench, where you ask, we answer.